Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again. Another edition of Inside the Headset, Week 5, Game 5. I'm with the head coach of the Oakland Patriots, Coach Kevin Creasy. Coach, well, last Friday night, you were great in all facets of the game. I mean, you did what you needed to do.
No mistakes. Real happy. Tell you the truth, the bye week did give us opportunity to get healthy. Did give us opportunity to work on ourselves. So it came at a great time.
So Friday, you let the guys off. You
Yes.
went over to Blackman High School. I saw you over there, and let's talk a little bit about their game since you didn't play, and then we'll pick up and move into the matchup on Friday. But was able to scout them and everything. First, talk about their opponent. What did you like about Tucker, Georgia?
Well, I'd heard a lot about Tucker and the tradition they had and the good athletes that they had, and it was everything is advertised. Those guys got off the bus and really passed the eye exam. They were a good-looking team. I think maybe they had some injuries. Quarterback didn't throw it too well, but besides that, they were a really good team. And for Blackman to control them in all facets of the game, I thought that spoke volumes about how well Blackman played.
Well, you always felt because of the potential on the Tucker side that you always had it in the back of your mind. Any minute these guys can score within 2-3 plays and they can put 6 points on you really fast if they wanted to.
And the thing I noticed was how well Blackman tackled. They were 3 or 4 times there were opportunities for those guys to score in which the last guy at the defense made a shoestring tackle. Really impressed with number 10. I know they did an article on him in the D&J. That guy not only had 2 interceptions, but he had about 4 touchdown saving tackles. So he stopped them from breaking long runs a lot of times. But many times they were stopped before they ever got started. You know, their TNTs, their D-line are back from last year's defense. Choya, the linebacker, plays really well. Their defense is quite impressive to hold a team like Tucker to as few points as they did.
You've talked a little bit about Blackman and some of their weapons and whatnot. What do you think is looking at the game on paper? You almost have to say since they did play last Friday night, you've got them next. More than likely, they've got a little edge on you.
It's hard to say. We could have went out and played somebody Friday and had a bunch of injuries.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
We came back Monday and we weren't very crisp. We weren't very sharp. So we had a couple days off and that showed. So we've got to be ready to play. That's one thing they do have in their advantage is they've played lately. They've played a quality opponent. And they're on the roll now. I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
They've beaten some good teams. They've beaten some really good teams.
And what you're as a coach, you've already told them. But what the kids have to understand when they go out there, it's going to be a lot of fun and everything. But it's going to, like everybody says, it's going to get down to 1 or 2 plays in this one.
Well, it always does. 3 or 4 plays make the difference in the ball game. But truly, that wasn't the case with Blackman versus Tucker because Blackman controlled the whole game. There was never any doubt. I don't even remember Blackman punting. They did a great job of coming out early, scoring early, and never relinquishing the lead. And both offensively, defensively, and special teams, they controlled the ball game. And anytime that Tucker got a little momentum, Tucker shot himself in the foot, got a dumb penalty.
I thought that was their biggest problem they'd 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Well, they reminded me a lot of ourselves, and that's what we've tried to clean up a little bit this week. No dumb penalties, no turnovers. Try to keep the ball in our hands on defense. Make sure that we don't extend drives by helping the defense out. So we're working on that. We're a work in progress ourselves. So we've got a ways to go, and hopefully that week off helped us.
So we know that Blackman, I guess now it's been exposed. They are the next opponent and everything. What do you like about their team as a whole right now? Other than we've talked about their momentum and everything, just standing back looking at them. I mean, you got a good quarterback, but just
I tell you, I do. I like both the running back and the quarterback. I think anytime you have a shotgun offense, those guys are in the gun a lot. If you've just got one guy to stop, you're feeling pretty good. But
Yeah.
they have a two-headed monster over there with the quarterback and the running back able to make plays, and they made plays against Tucker. They were running the ball well. They were throwing and catching. They threw a couple tricks in there. So, they've got a lot of different weapons. And, I think it all starts, the stick that stirs the drink, I guess, is the guy that's taking the snaps.
Oh, yes.
And he's pretty impressive. Anytime you have a guy move from linebacker to quarterback, that's the kind of guy you want leading your team. So he's pretty impressive. But then he can always throw to targets that can go to the house anytime. He can hand the ball off. They got more than one good running back. They got a couple back there that can take it to the house at any time. So they're blessed with a lot of talent.
Kicking wise, let's look at them. They've got a pretty good kicker. You got a pretty good kicker. So that piece is going to kind of wash, I think.
Well, I will say this. Anytime they cross beyond the 40, they're in field goal range.
They proved it.
That's a little different than us. And we've hit a big-time field goal in an important ball game, but they hit a game-winning field goal with no time left on the clock. We've got young kickers, they've got a little more experience.
So give a little edge to them.
I'd have to say, and here's another thing, is when we kick off, it usually makes it to about the 10. When they kick off,
it goes in the end zone.
Usually it's in the end zone, and that's what Tucker had to deal with. They had to go from their 20-yard line most of the time, and they couldn't piece it together. They shot themselves in the foot and made mistakes and killed themselves on a lot of drives. But a lot of times when you've got to go 80 yards, it's difficult to do.
Defense, this is going to be pretty evenly matched. I mean, they got a pretty good defense. You've talked about their linebacker. You've talked about their ability to play as a team. And of course, you've got some goons on your side of the ball. So,
well, we think it's two of the best D lines around.
That's just what I'm saying.
Our D line is pretty stout, and their D line's quite impressive as well. So. Anybody that gets excited about D-line play, come on out to the ball game because there's going to be two great D-line. I'm very impressed with both our D-line and theirs as well. With that said, it's the guys that you don't know about yet, the guys that aren't proven, the guys that aren't experienced. A lot of those guys are experienced. A lot of our D-line's experienced. It's the guys that are unproven and the young, inexperienced guys that are going to be the difference in this ball game.
Yes.
The guys that you don't really always count on. And those are the guys that are going to make the mistakes to lose the game, or those are the guys that are going to make the plays to win the game. And that's what you love as a coach, man. Your good players are good. It's those average guys that you can bring along and make better, to make them believe in themselves, to make them believe they're a whole lot better player than they are, to make them perform a whole lot better than they should. That's what impresses you as a coach. Your good players are going to be good players.
Right. They got a little God-given talent.
God made sure that they're good at football. You got to make sure that they get there on Friday. As far as the average guys, you got to bring those guys along and make them play above their head and way above their talents. And that's what's pleasing as a coach is when one of those guys can make plays to make a difference in the ballgame.
They got a good coaching staff.
Yeah, I do agree. Their coaching staff is very good. Some of those guys came from Oakland. I'm pretty impressed with what they've done over there so far in a short amount of time, because I know how it is taking over a program, getting coaches all on the same page, speaking the same language, singing off the same sheet of music. So that's a difficult task, and I got to give Coach Watson credit for assembling a staff. He lost some guys along the way, picked up some guys along the way. And
they got to be guys that fit in your program no different than they fit in his program.
And it's not just guys that know what you're running on offense. It's guys that are unselfish, that are team players, team guys. And he's assembled a good staff. And like I said, to get done what he's gotten done in a short amount of time is impressive. They took a huge loss. I mean, it wasn't like they just barely lost their opening game. We got beat pretty handily. They got beat pretty handily. We felt like we've kind of bounced back from it, but those guys obviously have stepped on another level. They've really put that first loss behind them and learned from their mistakes. That's what we've been preaching to our guys. We've got to learn from our first loss and get better because of it. And you can tell truly that Blackman's done that.
All right, let's get to it. What do you got to do to beat these guys?
Well, I think it starts from the opening kickoff. You got to
Okay.
set a tone early. Everybody's going to be fired up. There's going to be a great crowd. It's going to be a wonderful environment for football. But what are you going to do the second snap? The third snap? I don't think you just set the tone on the opening kickoff. I think you got to set the tone early and establish some things that you want to do. Well, what do you want to do? Well, you want to throw on time and you want to catch big plays. They probably want to do the same, so we got to make sure they don't throw big plays on us. They've thrown a couple big passes that led to huge first downs, that led to touchdowns, that they threw some tricks in there. So we got to make sure that they don't throw on time, that we do throw on time, and then when we do throw, we make huge plays. Likewise, we got to establish the run. I'm sure they feel like they've got to establish the run. The team that runs is going to have the most success. I think defensively, we've got to make sure that we're trying to strip the ball from those guys. We're trying to create turnovers, and we're trying to make negative yardage plays. Same, I'm sure, for those guys. Basically, it's a pretty simple concept. When teams are evenly matched or not much difference, at the end of the day, it's blocking, tackling, and turnovers. And I'd say the ones that make the fewest mistakes and control the ball, keep control of the ball, are going. They're going to be the ones that's going to be most successful.
Any logistics or special thing going on Friday night other than all fans get here early and
I think you need to get here early. I think there's going to be a huge crowd. Of course, parking's going to be an issue, but we're also recognizing our Hall of Fame guys. We're inducting 3 guys into the Hall of Fame, and there's a committee. I don't really have a relationship with those guys, but I'm really impressed with one young man. I remember he's in one of these pictures here, 62. Mr. McAdoo.
Okay, cool.
I got to watch him in a state championship game. They played the night after we had won in 08 at Trousdale. So I know he was a heck of a player, and likewise, they're honoring him with being put in the Hall of Fame. And we're really pleased with the tradition we got here. That's one thing that we are very fortunate about. We've got players from 2008 that were players, but we've got the 90s, the 80s, the 70s. And that's the thing that, newer schools really can't go back on.
Can't anchor. And got that anchor.
They cannot pull from. So that's one thing that we do really enjoy about our tradition and our winning ways is our history. And those guys, they're going to slip by, hopefully, and give us some words of encouragement before the kickoff.
Well, that's good. Well, other than that, 7 o'clock right here at Ray Hughes.
7 o'clock.
Everybody be here. Oakland versus Blackman, 7 o'clock right here, Ray Hughes Stadium. Y'all be here.